On today's show,
we select our all-star reserves. Davis, Lillard, Dirk. Who makes our Western squad?
in the East, there are some familiar faces amongst our picks, but some new ones too.
And in Crossfire, we debate whether the Hawks should trade Jeff Teague.
It's Wednesday, January 27th. The starter starts now.
Good evening, sweet world, and welcome to the starters. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching us on NBA TV and or YouTube, we're happy to have you. I'm Jay Skeets, and alongside me, as always, that's Tass Mellis.
It's colder in the studio than it's going to be in Toronto at All-Star Weekend.
Lock it in. To the right, Senior National Man of Mystery, taking it to the max, Lee Ellis.
Friend.
Lily. Last, certainly not least, starters blog editor, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! TK, what do you got for us tonight?
Well, I'm here at the internet looking for your best tweets at #thestarters, but more importantly, it's All-Star season, which means it's also dunk contest season, which really means it's hype video season, ladies and gentlemen. And Lee, I hope you're ready because Taco vs. E-Dog 3 is going to be the biggest dunk contest we've seen, featuring something from Toronto since Vince Carter way back when.
Is that a 6-foot-high hoop? What is that?
Oh, that's right. I'm stunting on my baby.
Oh, look at this. Oh, this is huge.
Oh, my goodness. This is going to be great. Anyways, this is where you at home come in. We need you to send us your best dunk ideas for Lee and I. No guarantees we can actually pull them off, but send us your best ideas at #thestarters, and we'll evaluate them a bit later.
Okay.
You used your dog last year and your baby this year. I mean, there's just nothing that's out of reach.
What do you think's going to happen next year with 2 babies?
Oh, I can't wait. All right, so let's get your dunk suggestions in for these guys who definitely will not be able to do them.
Don't dunk your baby, Trey.
Yeah, Taco versus E-Dog 3. All right, we're excited. This is one of our favorite shows of the season. We are going to make our All-Star Reserves picks. They're going to officially announce them tomorrow night on TNT. 7 p.m. Eastern, it gets underway. Ernie and the crew, they'll have the actual All-Star Reserves picked by the coaches. And then we got some basketball there tomorrow night. Knicks and Raptors, the Raptors on TNT. Fantastic. They have won 9 straight, followed by the Bulls and Lakers as the nightcap. But we're making our picks here on tonight's starters. Just to refresh your memory, guys, here are your Western Conference starters. Your 2 guards, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, and your 3 bigs. I put bigs in quotation. Kobe Bryant, Kawhi Leonard, and Kevin Durant. We also learned today that Spurs head coach Greg Popovich will coach the West. All right, let's get to our picks. We actually have 4 consensus picks of the 7 spots. Chris Paul, he's a lock.
Yep.
We all got him on our list. Rockets guard James Harden, also all 4 of us are taking. Yes, he's not having as great an MVP-like season as he did last year, but his offensive production still through the charts, second in the league in points per game. We all had the big man, DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie, on our list. Best center in the game. He's averaging right now 27 and 11, throwing in some defense. He's going to Toronto, in the opinion of the starters. And our final consensus pick, it is Draymond Green, the triple-double machine. Rebounds, plays D, can hit the 3. He's 7th in the league in assists per game, which is unbelievable for a guy at his position. So, who do we disagree on? Well, here's our entire teams, complete with our funny-looking mugshots there. Tass, as his final 3, Blake Griffin, Anthony Davis, and Aldridge. I, as well as Lee, have Damian Lillard. I'll go also Aldridge. Lee says Nowitzki. Trey agrees with Nowitzki. And Trey says Davis. I know that sounds confusing.
So many names.
But let's break it down. I guess we have to start with Tass, because I think the Griffin there highlighted is the most interesting one. Despite playing only 30 games, now all the injury news, you're still putting Blake Griffin on your All-Star team. Why?
I'm taking the 12 best players to All-Star Weekend. And I think you can argue whether or not he's one of the 12 best players in the league. It doesn't matter to me that he's played 30 games. He is one of the best players in the league, and that's it. What he's doing in terms of numbers, 23, 9, and 5 assists, hasn't been done in years since LeBron in 12-13. He's just a special player. I don't care that he hasn't played 30 games. He's a special guy, and there's some recency bias. Yeah, he's gone. Doesn't matter. He's one of the best.
30 games is enough, too. Like, that, for me, would qualify to get into the
But you didn't pick him.
I know I didn't pick him. I know I didn't, but he has had a fantastic season.
Well, has the recent injury, I mean, can he even go back to Toronto after what just happened with the equipment?
The international incident. Maybe he's still there.
No, but I seriously wonder if, again, that recent injury, we know he had the quad injury, which kept him up for a long time. Now the broken hand because he got into it with his buddy there, his equipment staffer up in Toronto. Will that cost him a bid tomorrow night from the coaches? Or will it have to do a little bit also with not playing as many games as some people like?
And the conference that he plays in, it's extremely tough. He's going to be, I think, on the sort of the bubble. And everybody else that, you guys picked have played in a higher amount of games.
Yeah.
There isn't a guy that is in a similar situation to Blake. So, yeah, he's going to get docked for that. But last year, people put in KD when he hadn't played in half his team's games.
Right.
I mean, Blake has played in 2/3 of his team's games, and it's just unfortunate when the timing has come. If this came at the beginning of the season and he's putting up those numbers, I think he'd probably be in, but he probably won't get there.
A little amazed, actually, that you don't have Klay Thompson, the three of us, Trey,
that was
myself,
tough.
and Lee. Klay Thompson is a lock to you, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, he did start off slowly compared to last season, but he has really picked it up since that first couple of weeks of the season. And, I mean, the Golden State Warriors have been such a good team, and he's been a huge part of that. He's still averaging 20 points, got great percentages, and he's just such an important part of what they do. Sometimes I think you maybe mark a guy based on what he did last season versus this season, but I still think he's having an incredible year and fully deserved.
Yeah, like you mentioned, Lee, if you throw out those first 10 games of the season, Klay's averaging 22 on 46% shooting, 40% from three a game. He's been one of the better guards in the league. I don't mind if you take Damian Lillard because you think he's the #1 guy on his team, but I just think that Klay Thompson makes a bigger impact on the league in general because he's playing on such a good team.
I agree with you guys on that. All right, and we want to hear from everyone, by the way. Jump on Twitter, hashtag the starters with your picks, especially when you get into those wild card spots. I'm interested to figure out how you made your decisions when we got to those sort of final big spots, because we were all over the board. You know, Trey had Davis and Dirk. Tass, you had Davis and Aldridge. I mean, I sort of already pointed it out. We had Lillard in the mix there as one of the wild card spots. How did you decide with the guys you ultimately went with, Tass, especially, I guess, in terms of Anthony Davis? Just no-brainer?
You got to go with the best players. This is for the fans, and Anthony Davis is one of the best players in the game.
But he's on a team. He's on a team that is 12 games below 500.
I was in New Orleans 10 days ago, and I watched that roster around him, and half that roster is going to be gone very soon. That's just the way it goes in New Orleans. They've had a terrible, terrible year, but it's a terrible, terrible team around Anthony Davis. I'm not going to dock him points because his teammates aren't up to par in the roster that's been built around him. He started off slow as well, not as slow as Klay did, excuse me, but he's just one of the best. I think you just got to keep it simple here. The numbers are great. He's been great. The West, there are a lot of good teams, but Anthony Davis's team is just bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just very bad around him.
He was the toughest omission for me, and I chose Dirk over him simply because the Mavs have been fantastic this year, and Dirk has really been resurgent. I think a lot of us expected the Mavs to drop off a lot from last season, and it's not always about stats. I mean, if you go purely on stats, then Davis absolutely deserves to be there over Dirk. But Dirk has been fantastic, keeping the Mavs in it, and I just think at this stage of his career, to see what he's doing and the impact it has on his team, I think he's deserving of it.
He's shooting 44% from the field, 39 from three, and 90 from the line. The only other guy in the league who's getting the same sort of minutes as Dirk that's doing that is Steph Curry. So I think stats-wise, he's there because when he has the ball, he is money, and I think that matters. And it's a bit of a sentimental pick. It'll be fun to have.
I also say, I mean, I know you have Aldridge as well. I think you have to have a second spur. I know we got Kawhi Leonard going. He gets voted in by the fans. LaMarcus Aldridge, you got to have a second spur at least.
Yeah.
I don't think you can really, truly make a case for Tony Parker. I go to Aldridge just because of what he can give you defensively. I mean, he's up there in defensive rating.
Yeah, the Spurs hurt each other. That's the problem there
little
when
bit.
it comes
They
to
really
all-star
do.
selection, because Parker has been great, but his numbers don't stand out like someone like Lillard.
But everyone makes such a big stink last year when the Hawks had such a great record, and they got to have 3. No, they got to have 4 representatives. I mean, the Spurs should have at least have 2.
Hey, if
being a dominant team.
if they're in the East, they'd probably have 8.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's probably true. Patty Mills will be maybe making the All-Star. You're absolutely right. All right, agree, disagree. Again, jump on Twitter. Your West picks for the All-Star game. We got to take a break. Well, we got lots to get to here. Well, of course, catch our breath and break down the East Conference All-Star picks when we return. You're watching the Starters. Welcome back to the Starters. To refresh your memory, here's a look at your Eastern Conference All-Star Game starters. You see them there: Lowry, Wade, LeBron, Paul George, and Melo. Now it's time for our Eastern Conference reserve picks. We actually agree on 6 of the 7 spots. So here are the starters' consensus picks to make the game in the East. Bulls guard Jimmy Butler. That's easy.
Those are nice jerseys.
You know, the real offensive weapon now for the Bulls, and he brings it defensively. Joining him, another shooting guard, Raps guard DeMar DeRozan. He has been on fire as of late. I mean, he's got great timing when it comes to this. 4th in the league in minutes per game, 9th in scoring. averaging 23 per game.
He might get paid.
Yeah, I think so. At the center position, one of the big positions, Piston center Andre Drummond leads the league in rebounding. His numbers are unreal, 17 and 15.
Crazy.
Double-double machine, leading the league with 37. Joining him, according to us, Hawks forward Paul Millsap leads the Hawks in both scoring and rebounding. He does it at the defensive end. He's become a bit of an all-star staple over the last couple of years, and we think he's good enough to go again. 2 more picks, consensus picks according to us. Heat forward, Chris Bosh. We have him going to his 11th consecutive All-Star game. I had to double check that.
Yeah.
It sort of blew my mind.
Crazy.
But the numbers are there, as always, with Chris and unheralded on the defensive end. And our final consensus pick is John Wall. He has carried the injury-riddled Wizards this season. He's second in the league in assists, tied for 4th in steals. He's scoring a career high of nearly 20 at 19.6.
Let's give him a 20 and 10. Let's round up.
Give him a 20 and 10.
Yeah.
So here are the starters East reserves. Officially, we find out tomorrow night. We only disagree on that final pick, that final wildcard spot. The 3 of you guys go with Celtics guard Isaiah Thomas, and I am the lone Hornet fan here going with Kemba Walker. I think this is a very difficult decision, though. I think you could even throw Reggie Jackson into the mix here. Why do you ultimately go with IT?
The numbers are really, really close.
They're close.
It's not about the numbers whatsoever. I'm going with Isaiah Thomas. Their team is a touch better, and it's just for aesthetics. He's going to be the smallest player in NBA All-Star Game history at 5'9". Calvin Murphy, once upon a time, was listed at 5'9". Isaiah's shorter. He has to be shorter. And I just would like a little guy out there. I think young fans would like to look at him and think of themselves in his place. Why not? Because the numbers are basically exactly the same. His true shooting percentage, if you want to get technical, the real number that actually attributes free throws taken, puts him above the other guys in terms of efficiency. And his team's a little bit better. I'm going with him.
Kemba's been playing well lately, but I think the start of the season maybe hurt him a little bit as well because the Hornets were a bit up and down. You didn't know what you were expecting, but he has been good lately.
He's been better than good lately. He's been carrying the
Yeah?
Hornets as of late. He has. Over the last week or so, week and a half, he's keeping them. Yes, they don't have the record of the Celtics, but he's keeping the Hornets in the playoff picture.
Yeah.
Shouldering a majority of their offense. He really is. And they've been down multiple players. Al Jefferson, MKG, of course, Nick Batum. He, I think, has always been in the running the last couple of years to make this team. He's having career highs. I think he actually deserves it to get in this. And you say it, that recency bias a little bit, that could help his
Did it
case
come a little too late, though?
Because it's going to come down to, do the coaches go the record, which the Celtics have higher, or maybe because Kemba Walker's putting up 52 points not too long ago, and they go, ooh, he's really turned it on here as late. I go Kemba Walker just because I didn't want all of us taking the same.
Well, that's the other thing. I can't believe all of us actually picked them without knowing what we were picking as well. We all put our picks in like that. Yeah.
I think the East is pretty easy, except for that last pick. I really do.
Yeah, well, but still, you would think at least one of us would have had someone else at some point along the way.
Yeah, Al Horford doesn't get any love because he's Al Horford, unfortunately.
Him or Millsap for me it was. Millsap's numbers are slightly better, but I think Horford maybe defensively has a bigger impact, even though it doesn't reflect that in the stats. But Millsap just contributes everywhere. Doesn't do it in a really sexy way, though.
I was going to say, why did everyone go with 2 guards there as your wild card spots at the end? Because we have Wall, and then you guys either have IT or I have Walker. No bigs. Pau Gasol's putting up, again, phenomenal numbers. He started the All-Star game last year. Why
he's definitely putting up monster numbers, and I don't think it would be too surprising if Pau Gasol gets in, just because he's got the respect from the coaches, because he's been around forever, and he is a guy you definitely have to game plan for. But I just feel like Pau, similar to last year, he's putting up great numbers, but it's not having a huge effect on the Bulls. It's kind of like he gets his numbers no matter what's happening. It does help that he's the one guy on the team outside of Jimmy Butler who can score when he has the ball. But he's just right on the edge for me. I just think that Isaiah Thomas has been a little bit better.
Yeah, and I just want a sexier pick in there. Yeah. And I think
you really want a short guy in this game.
Why not? And I think over Al Horford.
Kemba Walker isn't huge.
No. He's not big. But another guy, Kyrie Irving, a small guy that's not getting any love from us. He hasn't played in half his team's games. I think that plays a factor, and he hasn't been that exceptional.
No, he's had a couple of good games.
Yeah, and that's where it's
he's
different.
Still working back.
When you were making a case for Blake, I can understand, and you brought up the example of Kevin Durant last year. They didn't play in a big chunk of games, but the games they were playing in, they were MVP-like players.
Very, very good.
You can't say that for Kyrie this year. He hasn't played in a ton of games, and he hasn't been phenomenal.
Yeah, and the Hawks obviously lose points because they just haven't been as good.
No.
Their whole team, so that's why Al Horford drops off.
It'll be interesting to see, again, who the coaches ultimately go with tomorrow night. Is it Thomas? Is it Walker? Maybe it is Reggie Jackson. Let's hear from you guys on Twitter. Who do you got as your East All-Star picks? We got to take a break. When we come back, Oh, yeah. We're going to fire up the crossfire and debate whether the Hawks should consider trading Jeff Teague. Come on back.
Welcome to Crossfire. This is how it works. Trey will give Skeets and me 3 topics. We will debate each one, and you at home will declare the winner on Twitter. Trey, let's tell them how it works.
Yeah, if you're following along at home on Twitter and you think Tass is winning, tweet hashtag TassWins. If you think Skeets is winning, hashtag SkeetsWins. Every vote counts, so tweet early, tweet often. And here we go, round 1. Rumors abound that the Hawks are shopping their top 2 point guards in Jeff Teague and Dennis Schroeder, and that they're focusing more on moving Teague right now. So tell me, should the Hawks trade Jeff Teague? Here we go.
No. Do you want to get worse? Because that's what you're going to do. You have a lot of faith in Dennis Schroeder if you're going to trade Jeff Teague. Fact is, they're built to win now. You want to get worse when you have Paul Millsap?
What?
Paul Millsap and Al Horford are 30. You can't take a step back, and that's exactly what you'd be doing. Do you want to be closer to winning? You keep Jeff Teague. He's on a great contract until the end of next year. They have all their picks. I don't see what they're getting from Jeff Teague to make them better.
But I think that is the mentality. The idea is they may not be winning anything with this squad. They're not going to get past the Cavs or win a championship, so maybe they do want to sort of blow it up if they think they're going to lose Horford. Maybe move Teague. If you think your 22-year-old Dennis Schroeder is the point guard of your future, then why not? The numbers show the Hawks are actually better with Schroeder out there and not Teague this year. I know Teague's been banged up. Teague has been banged up, but I think there are teams that could be interested that need a point guard, be it the Jazz or the Knicks or maybe even the Mavs. You could get something for Teague right now with that very workable contract.
And so you could get worse. That's what you could get.
If they think their point guard is Schroeder, then why not? Then why not?
All right, moving on to round 2. And according to DeMarcus Cousins, fan voting for 3 front court players and not specifically a center is disrespectful to big men and not really fair, as he recently told Yahoo Sports. Do you agree with DeMarcus? Is all-star voting disrespectful to big men? Here we go.
Why are you asking us? You're the big man.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right. I agree with DeMarcus Cousins here. Why is he because they took it off the ballot. You can't even vote for centers. So he's got a point there, doesn't he?
There are other big players in the league that have been voted for.
No, here's his point. The front court in the West right now is Kobe, who's actually a shooting guard, really, and then 2 small forwards in Durant and Kawhi. The game is suddenly...
He's just complaining because he didn't get votes.
Perimeter-oriented, no one cares about post play, and that's what Cousins is saying. He's a beast down there.
It doesn't exist.
Have you watched DeMarcus Cousins post play exist?
He's the one man. Yeah. So what?
Come on.
What is he talking? Did he expect to get more votes than Kobe? He's Kobe. Did he expect to get more votes than KD? He's KD.
He expected to get more votes than Zaza.
Kawhi's team has had more wins than DeMarcus Cousins has played in games. He's mad because Zaza has had more votes than him. He's mad because Draymond Green, he's a big. Hey, DeMarcus. This other guy, Blake Griffin, he's a big. He got more votes than you. Ennis Cantor, he's a big. He got more votes than you.
He's saying centers. That's what his argument is.
Those guys all play center. It's the new age, man.
Final round. He's a big. Kevin Durant calls Kristaps Porzingis a unicorn because of his rare combination of size and skills. Now, KD might be right, but who is the real NBA unicorn?
We know who it is. We know who it is. It's Stephen Curry. There's no one like him in the game. I know it's boring to talk about him, but you have to extend beyond the three-point line to get out to him. He's shooting from different logos each and every night. No one can shoot and handle like him. You got to extend out beyond half court. And the great thing is he comes off the ball now. You can't stop him. You're trying to go three-point line to three-point line. He's shooting 61% on threes in the 4th quarter. Thanks, Tom Haberstroh. 61% on
He's amazing. He's not a unicorn. I will answer this very weird question with a very weird answer. Actually, a pretty cool and pretty weird answer. The real NBA unicorn is Lee Ellis.
Oh, boy.
Yes, you remember the fantasy unicorn.
No, I actually forgot that.
It was such a beautiful nightmare. Look at that thing prance around. This man risked his life for the sake of entertainment. Lee couldn't breathe in that thing.
Oh, don't remind me.
That's your real NBA unicorn, my friends. Not Steph Curry, not Porzingis, an Australian man by the name of Lee Ellis.
Little known fact, his skin is as white as that unicorn costume.
Yes!
James!
Back-to-back weeks! All right, we gotta take a break. Whew. When we come back, though, Lily, the unicorns, very solid play of the night and a whole lot more. Back with the starters, a look at tonight's pick-em play. The game is the Hornets and Jazz. We're all taking the Jazz. Trey actually dropped the game last night, so for once I'm not in last place by myself. So that's exciting. Lee, where are we going for very solid play?
We're going to the Garden for a netball play from the New York Knicks. Watch this. Porzingis finishes it off with a Marc Gasol-like bounce pass. Langston Galloway. Here it is again. The netball, not touching the ground. That's why it's a netball play.
Yep.
And then a beautiful bounce pass finishes. And that's what I call a very solid play.
So many accents in that.
I was going to say, are you from New York?
Yeah, I sounded just like it, didn't
Yeah,
I?
absolutely. We asked you earlier in the show to hit us up on Twitter what dunks Trey and Lee should try to do in their third dunk contest this All-Star weekend. Trey, you got a few responses.
Yeah, a ton of responses. Ted Tokarski says, inspired by Gerald Green dunking in his socks, raise the bar by having one foot in a sock and one barefoot. Might make it actually easier. Almost killed myself dunking in socks over the weekend, by the way. Sideman Barino says, Vince Carter elbow dunk. Show respect to Toronto this year. You won't be disappointed.
Oh,
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
And finally, Chloe Schmoe asks what so many people did. Can Lee Ellis dunk while taking a bite of a banana?
Oh, that's
Chloe,
smart.
consider it done.
That's smart.
Yeah.
No, jump in the air, peel it, eat it, then dunk it. You do that, you'll win.
Yeah, I'll give it a try, yeah.
All right, keep those suggestions coming. We've got time before the dunk contest actually happens. Lee, I think we have a little bit of time for some fan signs.
Great. The first one comes in from Benny Buckets, who was at a game in Australia now. So he's not at an NBA game, Skeets. I know you don't like it when they're not NBA games, but that's as close as he can get.
He looks like a mini Lee.
The next one comes in from Carson, who was in Los Angeles for a game. Very
Thought that
simple
was
one
Gordon
there.
Hayward.
Oh, that's a
Very
bad
nice
sign.
one. Ryan and his bud were also in LA, and they put together this one. Shout out to Justin's. Jake Beck's got creative with the iPad there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
What is
this one
this?
comes from the Philippines. This is Pia. She's written a little novel on there.
Pia,
look-
Too long, too much to read.
Yeah, it's going to be on Facebook so you can read it. The next one comes from Kyle Kay and his partner there, also in, I can't remember where they were actually. Another one from Los Angeles, Kyle Castillo.
Who cares
And a
where
couple
they
of
are?
friends. Well, because we want to get every arena represented. This one comes in from Toronto. He got a wedgie, he got Red Panda, and he got a fan sign at this one. Very good job, Anthony.
Huge.
Keep the signs coming. We'll get those up on Facebook.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow night.
If somebody can't or asks you to go out and you can't, just say, my body's broken.
Brace the night.